It started with a growl. Not the kind you hear from ordinary street dogs. This one was deep, unnatural, like thunder crawling from the throat of a monster. And it was coming from inside the mansion, where my father told me I would work for a few weeks. I stood outside the black gate, clutching a Ghana must-go bag, a large striped sack common for carrying belongings. My clothes were few, but I didn't care. I wanted to go to school. I wanted to live. That dream ended the moment Papa dragged me into the living room and said, "There's a man coming for you tomorrow. You must follow him. He paid good money." I was 17. My name is Ada, from Enugu State, the last born of 5 and the only girl. Mama died when I was 9. Since then, life had been like war. Papa started drinking. My brothers disappeared into the city. My stepmother took over, and I became the housemaid. I begged him that night. I cried till my eyes swelled. "Please, Papa, I don't want to go." He slapped me. "You are going. If not, you and your dead mother can reunite." Now I was here, standing at the gate of a tall, silent mansion in Lekki Phase 1. The man who brought me didn't even say his name. He just drove a tinted jeep, told me, "No talking unless spoken to," and handed me to a tall security guard with no smile. He searched my bag and took my phone. Then he said, "No visitors, no calls, no noise." I stepped in. The air smelled like expensive polish and something else, something like wet fur. The tiles were white. The walls were filled with giant portraits of animals, wolves, hyenas, lions. Then I saw him. That's what the guard called him. He wore a silk robe and sat on a wide chair that looked like a throne. His eyes were yellowish. His nails were long and filed like claws. "You're beautiful," he said in a soft voice, just like the last one. My heart skipped. "Last one?" He motioned for the guard. "Take her to the grey room. Lock it from outside." I was led through a hallway with red lights and cameras in every corner. One of the rooms had scratch marks on the door, deep scratches, like something or someone had been trying to escape. They pushed me into the grey room, no window, just a bed, a sink and chains. The door slammed shut. That night, I heard screams. A girl, maybe 2 rooms away, she was begging, "Please, Chief, please. I won't tell anyone. I won't." Then, silence, followed by a whimper. Then the growl again. I covered my ears. I wanted to scream. But I remembered what Papa said. "If you disgrace me, I will find you and kill you myself." The next day, I was summoned to the living room. Chief smiled at me. "I want you to meet someone," he said. "A dog. Tall, black and terrifying. It wasn't an ordinary dog. Its eyes glowed, and it looked at me like it understood everything." Chief stroked its head. "This is Zulu. You belong to him now." My legs felt weak. "Sir, I don't understand." He stood. "Your father sold you to me, and Zulu is not just a dog. He's a spirit." I shook my head. "Please, I just want to go home." "There's no home," he snapped. "Your price has been paid. You will serve Zulu till he releases you." That night they brought me meat, raw, on a metal plate. I didn't eat. I cried. I prayed. I begged. Then I heard scratching on the door. I thought it was rats, until I saw the handle turn and the door opened slowly. And Zulu walked in. Not alone. Behind him was a girl, pale, eyes wide, lips trembling. She looked at me and whispered, "Don't fight. It's worse when you fight." She closed the door and left. I was alone with Zulu. I don't remember how long I blacked out. I just know I woke up on the floor from my thigh. My clothes were torn, my lips busted. I couldn't scream. My voice was gone. That night, I decided to die. But when I tied the bedsheet around my neck, the door flew open again. This time, it wasn't the dog. It was another girl. She looked no older than me. Her eyes held a haunted wisdom. She whispered, "You want to escape?" I nodded, tears streaming. She said. "Then listen to me carefully. There's a secret passage, but you must be ready to see something that may kill you before you even leave." I followed her. My legs were weak, every step felt like walking through hot water, but I followed the girl anyway. She moved fast, barefoot, silent. She didn't say her name, only whispered, "Don't speak, just copy me." Her gaze was fixed on the path ahead, a silent promise of desperation. She opened a small wooden door behind the wardrobe and crawled in. I followed into the darkness, barely able to breathe. The tunnel was narrow, dusty, and hot. I could hear something breathing on the other side. We stopped. She turned to me, her voice a barely audible rasp. "What you're about to see. Don't scream. Just keep moving." I nodded, swallowing hard. Then she pushed the wooden flap open. My eyes widened. We were inside a massive underground hall lit by red bulbs. The walls were lined with cages. Inside them were girls, dozens of them. Some were crying, some were praying, some were just staring blankly like their souls had been removed. I gasped, the sound a choked whisper. "This cannot be real." She turned to me, her eyes hollow. That's what happens to the ones who try to escape without a plan. Their minds are gone. I felt sick. "What is this place?" I asked, my voice trembling. She touched the wall, her fingers tracing invisible lines. "This is where he keeps them before they're chosen." Chosen? She looked at me with pity, a flicker of something long lost in her gaze. "Zulu doesn't eat food like humans. He eats memories, thoughts, life. Once he takes interest in you, your mind begins to disappear slowly. You forget who you are, where you came from, until there's nothing left but a shell." I clutched my chest, tears streaming. "So why are you helping me?" She looked away, her voice strained. "Because I was once like you, but I'm already gone. I just have a few days left before I become like them. My family believed I'd found a better life here, a scholarship, but all I found was this horror." "No," I whispered, "there must be a way. We must escape. We must tell someone." She shook her head, a grim shadow passing over her face. "Nobody outside believes. The last girl that escaped was taken to the police. They returned her here. Chief paid them." I wanted to scream, but my mouth felt like it was glued shut. Then we heard it, a low growl, followed by a long, howling bark. The walls vibrated. The girl grabbed my wrist. "Run!" We crawled back through the tunnel, but something was following. I could hear claws scratching behind us. I crawled faster, panicking. My elbow scraped the wall. Blood. Pain. We reached the grey room, slammed the flap shut, and pushed the wardrobe back. My heart was hammering so fast I thought it would burst. The girl looked at me, breathing heavily. "You have to act normal tomorrow," she said, "or they'll know." I nodded. That night, I didn't sleep. I couldn't. My body hurt. My spirit felt hollow. Every second, I thought Zulu would return and finish what he started. But he didn't. The next morning, they brought me water to bathe. The water was cold, smelled like old soap. My thighs ached. My head pounded. Then the door opened and Chief entered. I froze. He looked at me. "Zulu likes you." "That's rare." I didn't respond. He stepped closer. "You're special. Most girls break down within 2 days. But you still have light in you." I looked away, tears threatening to fall. He crouched in front of me. "You will make a perfect bride for him." My mouth dropped. "Bride?" He smiled. "We perform a ritual once a year. Zulu selects one girl. If she survives the union, she becomes part of the inner house. If not..." He didn't finish, but his gaze drifted to the scratch marks on the door of the hallway. I whispered, "Why do you do this? Why girls? Why not animals?" His face changed. For a second, I saw rage, a deep, ancient fury. "I made a deal," he said coldly. 20 years ago, I was poor, hopeless. I went to the forest shrine in Aruchukwu. Zulu appeared. He gave me wealth, but in return, I must feed him souls. Young, pure souls. I gasped. "That's..." He slapped me. My head rang, my ears buzzed. Then he stood. "You'll be cleansed this night. Prepare yourself." He left. I sat there, my cheeks burning, my soul weeping. I wanted to die. But then I remembered the girl, the tunnel, the cages, the others. I couldn't give up. I had to survive, even if it killed me. That night, I was taken to a big hall covered in red cloths. Candles everywhere, incense in the air. Zulu sat on a golden cushion, watching me with glowing eyes. Beside him was Chief, holding a black staff. The guards stripped me, bathed me in herbs, dressed me in white. Then the chanting began. The room spun. I felt dizzy. Voices in my head, screams, laughter, memories flashing like lightning. Suddenly, I saw Mama. She stood in front of me, smiling. I reached out, "Mama?" But her smile faded. Her face turned into cheeps. I screamed. Then everything went black. When I woke up, I was back in the grey room. But I wasn't alone. A small girl, maybe 10 years old, sat on the bed, shivering. She looked at me and whispered, "Are you his wife too?" I didn't know what to say. I reached for her. She flinched. "I won't hurt you," I said softly. She looked at me with fear. I stared at her. "What's your name?" "Achika." "Who brought you here?" "My uncle. He said I was going to school in Lagos." My heart broke. Just like me. Another innocent souled by blood. I held her hand. "I won't let them hurt you." She looked at me with tears. "Promise?" I nodded. "I promise." But inside, I was scared, because I didn't even know how I would survive the next day. Later that night, the girl who helped me came again through the tunnel. Her face was pale, glistening with sweat. Her eyes, usually haunted, held a desperate urgency. "You have to run very fast and quick," she whispered, her voice barely a breath. "They know you're planning something." My heart stopped. "What?" "They checked the cameras. They saw you enter the tunnel. What about you?" She looked down, a sad smile touching her lips. "I'll distract them. You must take Chika and leave." "But they'll kill you." She smiled sadly. "I'm already dead inside. My mind is almost gone anyway. This is the only use I have left." I held her, a silent thank you. She pulled away. "There's a sewer tunnel behind the cages. It leads to the swamp. From there you'll find the main road." She turned. "Go now. I'll buy you 10 minutes." Before I could respond, she disappeared back into the darkness. I shook Chika awake. "We have to go, now." She nodded, already crying silently. We crawled through the tunnel, past the cages. The girls stared at us, their eyes empty, husks of what they once were. I wanted to open the cages, to save them all, but we didn't have time. We reached the sewer gate. I pushed it. I looked around, found a broken pipe and slammed it against the padlock. Over and over, my hands bled. My arms shook. Then, it opened. We crawled through the narrow sewer, the smell burning our nostrils. Behind us, we heard alarms. Then, barking. Then, footsteps. We ran, out into the swamp, covered in mud, barefoot. The sky was dark, the night full of mosquitoes. But we kept running. Then I heard it, growling. Close. Zulu was following. We reached a bridge, broken, hanging halfway. Chika looked at me, her eyes wide with terror. "We can't cross." I turned. Zulu stood behind us, a hulking shadow. Growling, snarling, eyes glowing red. I stepped in front of Chika. "If you want someone," I screamed, "take me!" Zulu lunged, but then a gunshot. Uin yelped. Another shot. I turned. 2 hunters stood behind trees. Real hunters. Local men from the nearby village. They shot again. Zulu collapsed, his form shimmering as if struggling to hold itself together. Chief's voice echoed from afar, frantic and enraged. "No, you fools!" The hunters grabbed us, pulling us from the mud. "You girls okay?" one asked, his voice rough but kind. I couldn't speak. I'd just held Chika and cried, the release of tension overwhelming. We were safe. Or so I thought, the moment I heard the footsteps return. I didn't breathe. I didn't even blink. The silence was thicker than death itself. The door creaked open slowly, and in came the one person I never thought I'd see again. My father. He stood at the door, his agbada soaked from the rain outside, his eyes bloodshot, his lips trembling. Behind him stood that same tall woman with the glass eyes and cruel smile, the one who had once forced me to kneel and thank the dog for choosing me. She radiated an ancient power, a cold, calculating presence. He didn't say a word. Neither did I. He walked towards me slowly, like someone walking to a grave he helped dig. "You're still alive," he finally whispered, sounding more shocked than relieved, his voice barely a breath. I didn't respond. "You're supposed to be dead. They said the dog would finish you after 7 days." Something inside me snapped. I stood up, my voice raw with betrayal. "I am not meat to be sold. I'm your daughter. Why? Why did you sell me to that beast?" The tall woman laughed coldly, a sound like dry leaves skittering across stone. "He didn't sell you for money, little girl. He sold you for freedom, his own." I turned to her, my face twisted in disbelief. "So, you and the dog, your husband?" She smiled again, a chilling, predatory curve of her lips. "He's more than a husband. He's a god. A curse, a savior. Call him what you like. But you were always meant to be the price. The spirit of the dog god, Zulu, demands its due." The words hung in the air like poison. I turned to my father, my gaze burning into him. "Is this true? You gave me away because of something that happened before I was even born." He couldn't meet my eyes. He flinched from my stare. "I was desperate, Ada," he murmured, his voice a broken whisper. "Your mother was dying. The farm had collapsed. I was drowning in debt. I made a promise to a man I didn't know, who appeared in the forest and told me he could make me rich. I didn't know he was a dog?" I asked, shaking with cold fury. "No," the woman corrected, her voice sharp. "A demon, with the power of an animal and the desires of a man, a creature of ancient pacts." Suddenly, I remembered something. The first time I saw the dog, he looked at me and said, "You smell like a promise long overdue." So it had all been planned. All my life had been nothing but preparation for sacrifice. Tears ran down my face, hot and furious. "You were supposed to protect me," I whispered to my father, the words laced with raw agony. He broke down crying, collapsing onto the floor. "I thought if I sent you there, you'd die quickly, painlessly. But the beast liked you. He wanted you longer. I didn't expect you to survive this long. I never imagined you'd come back." His shoulders shook with silent sobs. The tall woman was watching me, an amused, calculating glint in her eyes. "But you did survive, and that means something else now." "What?" I demanded, bracing myself. She leaned in, her voice a low, dangerous purr. "You belong to him forever. If you don't return to him willingly, he will come for you. And when he comes, there will be blood. Not just yours, everyone's. She turned to my father, her voice devoid of warmth. You knew the rule, didn't you? The sacrifice must remain with the master for 30 days without resistance. You broke it. He was trembling, his face ashen. I thought she was dead. The woman smiled, a chilling tableau. Well, now that she's alive, we must finish what we started. Suddenly, everything in the room began to shake. A low growl echoed through the house, vibrating through the very foundations. It wasn't thunder. It was him. The dog had found me. The walls cracked, plaster dust drifting down. The floor shivered beneath my feet, and the lamps flickered violently. Then came the scratching sound at the back door. Slow, patient, monstrous, growing louder, more insistent. My father dropped to his knees, clutching his head. He's here. Ada, you must go. You must give yourself back. It's the only way. His voice was laced with terror, not for me, but for himself. I looked at him with pure hatred. After everything, you're still trying to sell me? He didn't reply, just whimpered. Then the back door exploded open, splintering inwards. The dog stood there, taller than any man, his eyes burning red, his body steaming from the rain, and his mouth dripping with saliva. But this time he wasn't in disguise, no suit, no mask, just a full monster, half human, half beast, radiating raw, unbridled power. He stepped inside, and the house bent with every footstep he took, groaning under his weight. You ran away, little bride, he growled, his voice like grinding metal, a sound that twisted my insides. The woman bowed to him, a gesture of absolute subservience. Master! He ignored her. His glowing eyes locked on me. You are mine, he said, the words a decree. You cannot escape what you are. I'm not yours, I screamed, finding a desperate strength. You are, he roared, and the house shook harder. By the blood promise your father made, you are mine for 30 days. You ran on the 7th. The balance must be restored. He moved forward, a terrifying, relentless advance. I ran. I grabbed a bottle from the shelf and threw it at him. It shattered against his chest, the glass tinkling uselessly against his impervious form. No effect. Nothing happened to him. He came closer, a slow, terrifying approach. My father screamed, "Take me instead, please!" The dog growled, a sound of dismissive irritation, and swung a massive claw. My father flew across the room and hit the wall with a sickening crack. He wasn't moving. The dog turned back to me, his glowing eyes narrowed. Now, where were we? Suddenly, I remembered something. The mirror upstairs. I had seen it when I was first brought in. The one the old maid had warned me about. She had said, that mirror doesn't show your reflection, it shows your power. I ran up the stairs, 2 at a time, the dog thundering behind me, his heavy footsteps shaking the very foundations. I reached the mirror room and slammed the door shut. It wouldn't hold for long. I stood in front of the mirror, panting, my heart a frantic drum. At first, nothing. Just my scared face, wide-eyed and terrified. Then slowly, the mirror began to glow. A soft, ethereal light emanating from its depth. My reflection blinked. It raised its hand. I didn't. My reflection smiled, a calm, knowing smile that was utterly unlike my own fear-filled expression. Then it spoke, its voice echoing in my mind, not from outside, but from within. You are not a victim, Ada. You are the daughter of a promise, but also the breaker of curses. What do I do? I asked it, tears streaming, my voice a desperate whisper. How do I stop him? Accept what you are. You are more than what they made you. The door burst open, ripped from its hinges. The dog entered, his eyes fixed on the glowing mirror. He growled, a sound of primal fear and rage. "No. Get away from it," he bellowed, lunging forward. But I didn't move. I turned to the mirror, tears still wet on my cheeks, but a newfound resolve hardening my gaze. "I accept," I said, my voice clear and firm, echoing the reflection's inner strength. The room exploded with blinding light. The dog screamed, a guttural, inhuman sound of agony and destruction. The light wrapped around him like fire, searing and consuming. He tried to run, to escape, but the walls seemed to close in, pulsing with the light. The mirror shattered with a deafening crack, fragments of light scattering like stars. The floor trembled, the house groaning as if collapsing in on itself. And then, silence. When I opened my eyes, the dog was gone. Just ashes, swirling faintly in the air where he had stood. I stood up, shaking, my body vibrating with a strange new energy. Below, I heard the tall woman sobbing, a broken, desperate sound. When I got downstairs, she was gone too, vanished like smoke. My father was still breathing, barely. I stood over him, my gaze hard and unyielding. He looked up at me with guilt and regret in his fading eyes. "I'm sorry," he whispered, his voice weak. "I know," I replied, my voice flat, devoid of emotion. "But sorry is not enough to make up for what you have done." He closed his eyes. I left him there. I walked outside, barefoot in the rain. The village was quiet, peaceful, as if nothing had happened. But everything had changed. The curse was broken. I was free. I had survived. But that I would never be the same again. I moved far away after that day. I changed my name. Started all over again from the start. But I never forgot. And I never forgave. Some nights, when the rain falls and the wind howls, I hear the scratching again. But I'm not afraid anymore. I have grown used to it, and it no longer hurts or scares me. Because I now know what I am. I am not a victim. I am the storm.